2 Kings, if you would. Come and close this thing out. 2 Kings chapter 17. Second Kings chapter 17. We will pick it up in verse 25. This is the Assyrians come in and besiege Israel. And they come in and they begin to occupy the land. In verse 25, and it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not the Lord, Jehovah. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land. And the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests, whom they had carried away from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made, and there goes on through a name of all these different gods here that you can see. Verse 32, so they feared the Lord, and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Lord, and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations, whom they carried away from thence. So they just take Jehovah, because they're suffering here, because they don't know the ways of the God of the land, and they just kind of add him to their list, to their collection of deities, and they mix in the true God into their religion. They fear the Lord and serve their own gods. You say, well, at least they're fearing the Lord, right? Listen, at least it's the same God, right? Look at verse 34. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded in the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. They fear these other gods, but they fear the Lord too. And God says, no, they don't. They think they do, but they don't. The God is not the same God. You can call these gods by whatever name that you want to call them. We've seen that. It's not about the name. It's about this system, this religion that permeates the earth, that unsaved people take part in one way or another. Come back one more verse. Exodus chapter 34. All the way back to Exodus chapter 34. Just a couple of verses here. We're just trying to get an idea of what this what God calls this abomination looks like. Exodus chapter 34, verse 12, Moses says, take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. We read that in Judges when we started out. But you shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves, for thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a-whoring after their gods, and do sacrifices unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. Okay. So now let's just take the last couple of minutes here and pull this together and see what maybe a worship service in Micah's house of gods might look like. And remember now, we're in a monotheistic context, so it's not a house of gods anymore, it's a house of God. So you come to the house of God on the day of worship. All your friends are there. Hello, nice to see you. You come in, you open the door. First thing that hits you, I suppose, is the distinctive smell of incense burning. And you walk through the door, and you notice that there are idols surrounding you. It's a house of gods, after all. Up front, there's a priest called Father. And you go to that priest, and there's an altar there. And the altar is, of course, for sacrifice. And there's meat offerings, and there's drink offerings. And the verse here, in Exodus, Moses says that what they do is they offer the sacrifice, and then they call you. The priest calls to the people, and they come up and partake of his sacrifice. So that's what this thing looks like. You've probably seen it. I know I have. It is to be avoided. It is to be defeated. The victims of it are to be converted, to be loved, to saving grace, and it will one day be abolished from the face of the earth. Now we will, I'm going to take next Sunday, Lord willing, and we're going to talk about some origins and some endings. But for today, we'll let that suffice. Do you have a question? Yes.
As believers who rightly divide the truth, are we wrong to indicate the same to people Happy Resurrection Day?
Are you asking if saying Happy Resurrection Day is okay?
Yeah.
Oh, is it okay for you?
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine for me too. I think it's fine for me too.
Okay.
That doesn't say anything about anybody else here. This is it's a point of debate and discussion. Personally, I don't have a problem if somebody tells me Happy Easter either, but that's just me. I'm one of those liberal nuts. Yeah, Ellie.
Like the judges, is it the assumption that they just pursued everything that they were taught, or they just decided, well, we're just going to go and do something completely different, like?
It seems that it happened all of a sudden. I would submit that as soon as they entered into that land, it started. And it was kept as long as Joshua and the elders that were with him were there. It was kept under control and kept underground. And as soon as those restraints were gone, it was there ready to explode, and sure enough it did.
So they were just doing everything. They were going to the synagogue every time they were doing that. You know, they were doing the circumcision with the sons, and so it just permeated from way back in the beginning, almost after